Up North at 4 with Dan and Jeff starts now.
They say it's your birthday, Paul McCartney. Well, happy 79th birthday to you. And that's not the only thing to celebrate today. The Milwaukee Bucks are a game away from the conference finals. Nate Myhock will join us and tell us whether or not Jeff and I can join the bandwagon. Then it's time to wrap up our tour of the Phelps Museum. Today we'll focus on the history outside the building. And finally, a discussion with an economics professor. Should the federal government be spending all this money? We'll get to all that in a bit, but first, here's your top 4 at 4. Land O'Lakes Arts is going all out this weekend for its summer series, Connecting Through Creativity. Tomorrow from 10 to 1, the focus will be photography. Then at 3, there will be connections through music. And on Sunday at noon, the focus will be poetry. It all culminates with Make Music Day on Monday, where a sound garden will be set up behind the Land O'Lakes Museum. Go to the Land O'Lakes Arts website for more details. Republicans on the State Budget Writing Committee finished their work last night. Here are some things you need to know about their 2-year spending plan. There are $3.3 billion in income and tax cuts into the budget. Schools will receive $2.6 billion in federal aid because Republicans met that state spending requirement. Republicans did not include funding for a new juvenile prison, so the closure of Lincoln Hills near Merrill may be delayed yet again. Governor Evers does have some power to rewrite the budget, but he cannot add more funding. The pandemic was a boon for many humane societies. More people had time for pets. That trend has ended, though, at least at the Oneida County Humane Society. They had a record low number of dogs early in the pandemic, but as of today, there are no free cages in their very large dog room. Visit the website ochspets.org to look at available pets. The Milwaukee Bucks beat the Brooklyn Nets last night to even the series at 3 apiece, but the unsung hero may have been a farmer from Marathon County. During the game, cameras found Tony Schultz, who owns Stony Acres Farms in Athens. He's right there. He ripped off his T-shirt to the roar of thousands of fans. He ended up ripping 5 more shirts during the game, all those shirts donated by fellow Bucks fans. Well, this is footage from Schultz from an earlier story we did with him. Schultz is back at his farm tonight in Athens hosting a pizza night. You should check it out. Meteorologist Jeff Weller joins us now. Jeff, another glorious day out there.
Yeah, glorious is the word. I mean, look outside now. It makes you want to jump in here, right? A beautiful day across the area again with temperatures back in the 80s, but things are about to change as we have colder temperatures on the way. But look at today. Lots of sunshine, temperatures back in the 80s, not as humid. We'll take it. But again, things are going to change here quickly. We could have high temperatures stuck in the 60s by the end of the weekend. Right now, though, it's 82 in Rhinelander, the west-northwest breeze at 16, and way less humid out there now with dew points near 40 across the area. Over in Wausau, still 87 for you, a west wind at 23. We've had some wind gusts today near 35 in Wausau earlier, with a feel-like temperature there of 84, and a dew point there again. Very dry air at 39. In fact, looking at wind reports from earlier, Eagle River saw wind gusts near 31. Here at the airport in Rhinelander 30. So a very gusty wind today. We're making waves on the lakes for sure, and also kicking up the fire danger too, as this air is very dry. It just sucks the moisture out of the vegetation, which makes the fire danger go up pretty quickly. All right, temperatures around the horn hanging out in the 80s currently, but there are a couple 90s across southern Wisconsin now. No more 90s for us. We're going to turn that off for a while as we have cooler temperatures on the way. In fact, tomorrow, 75 and sunshine perfect, right? Sunday, a couple of rain showers around. It's Father's Day, first day of summer. And then look at Monday and Tuesday. Stuck in the 60s on Monday with a couple of showers through the afternoon. Speaking of rainfall, though, this was last night. Lots of rainfall across the area last night, but that basically stayed across parts of southern Wisconsin. We could use some rainfall. It's on the way. Those details at 5 o'clock.
This portion of News Watch 12 is brought to you by Kitchen Bath Mart.
Did you know that approximately 45,000 women in the U.S. will die from breast or cervical cancer this year? The key to prevention and survival is early detection through regular screenings by mammogram and Pap test. Women aged 45 to 64 who are under or uninsured may be eligible for these tests through the Wisconsin Well Woman program. For more information, call 715-369-6119. A message from the Oneida County Health Department and the Wisconsin Department of Health Services.
The new LDF Country Market in Lactoflambo offers families the freshest meats, produce, bakery, and groceries. Take a closer look and you'll find a smoke shop, beer cave, deli, and liquor all under one roof, with convenient fueling stations just outside. Add Native American arts and crafts and you'll enjoy a unique, spacious shopping experience found nowhere else. Shop the new LDF Country Market today. Get what you need so you can get back to what you enjoy.
Northland Basement Systems is the all things basementy company. Basement waterproofing, basement finishing, basement structural repair, humidity and mold control, and nasty crawl spaces too. When it comes to basement solutions, nobody does it better than we do. Since 1991, homeowners just like you in the Northland have trusted Northland Basement Systems for all things basementy in their homes. Call Northland Basement Systems today to schedule a free home evaluation.
The historic Rhinelander Cafe and Pub in downtown Rhinelander has been serving the Northwoods since 1911. With 32 craft beers on tap and supper club staples, Friday fish fry, and Saturday prime rib, the Rhinelander Cafe and Pub also features more modern dishes like truffle fries and flatbread pizza. The large dining room provides plenty of space for an intimate surf and turf dinner or a family gathering over pasta. Stop in and enjoy a landmark in downtown Rhinelander, the Rhinelander Cafe and Pub on Brown Street.
Bucks win! Did you see this guy Nate last night?
I did. That's incredible. I love this move. That's an all-timer move right there.
So this guy, he's clearly a big Bucks fan. We're gonna be honest right now, Nate. Jeff and I, not the biggest fans. We want to join the bandwagon right now at a Game 7. Is that allowed?
I think I can speak on all Bucks fans' behalf. I don't know if I have those credentials, but I'm going to.
Okay.
I'll allow it. I guess it's better to get on now instead of if they make the finals.
That's normal, though, to get on a winning team. You know what I mean? That's a thing.
Right. And, you know, we're in Wisconsin. It's not like we're, you know, the middle of the country. We have no connection to Milwaukee. So I think it's allowed.
All right, we're in.
They're not even in the finals yet. So they have a Game 7 tomorrow. So for Jeff and I to join the bandwagon, what are some things that we should know about for this Game 7?
Oof. Well, it's going to be a tough one. Obviously, this series has been so back and forth. What's interesting is that the home team has won every single game. So they played 6 games. Milwaukee has lost all 3 in Brooklyn. And obviously, Game 7 is in Brooklyn. So hopefully they can buck that trend a little bit.
It's good.
And you see what I did there?
Yeah.
And so the one thing that I'm worried about, too, going into this game, obviously, you guys know Giannis, right?
Giannis,
the Greek freak. I mean, who doesn't know him? I'm really hoping that he can kind of step up and take over. We've never really seen that from him, at least at this point in his career, just kind of dominate a game in the playoffs like this. Obviously, he's done it multiple times throughout his carear in the regular season.
I'll be clear, when you say obviously, it's not obvious to Jeff.
Yeah, I apologize.
Yeah,
I'm sorry about that. But essentially, you know, all the great NBA players, LeBron, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, we literally saw this on Tuesday night. They just take over games and kind of impose their will on the other team. Just no matter what you do, you can't stop them. Giannis, I don't know if he's done that yet, at least not in the playoffs. I would love to see him do it. It's no perfect time.
So you study this stuff, right?
A little bit, yeah.
How do you see this game playing out?
I do think it'll be close. Last night, a bit of a blowout. A few of these games have kind of been a blowout. And what's really fascinating, I guess is the right way to put it, is at times the Bucks defense has looked phenomenal. They held Brooklyn to 83 points back in Game 4, I believe. That was their season low, and Brooklyn is loaded with talent. So for them to do that again, I don't know if I would bank on it. Other times the defense has struggled heavily, especially with all the firepower that the Nets have. So it'll be interesting to see kind of what the Bucks do tomorrow night. And I think if they can keep Brooklyn to below 100 points, this is my prediction. If they keep them to below 100 points, I think Milwaukee will win.
So you want Giannis to have a big game, and you think the defense, if they show up, the Bucks can win. Are there any other players, maybe a non-Giannis, that we should keep our eye on?
Well, you know, Chris Middleton for the Bucks, he went off last night. He had 34 points, one of his best performances in recent memory. If he can show up again, doesn't have to be an all-time performance like he had last night, but if he can contribute, I'm all for it.
I think we got this, Dan.
Okay, Jeff, we're going to join the bandwagon. We're going to watch the game. I hope you watch it as well at home. It's never too late to join the bandwagon. We'll be right back after the break. We're going to finish our tour of the Phelps Historical Museum in just a few minutes.
Welcome to today's Elite Money Minute with the Elite Advisor Team.
Are you frustrated with your portfolio getting banged up because the current strategy doesn't follow the signals of the market?
The old buy and hold strategy used to work, but it has proven to not be as effective in making your retirement dreams a reality. Here at Elite Retirement Group, we are actively managing your unique portfolio.
It's a lot like when you see stoplights change. We always have our eyes on the road so we can apply the brakes at the right time, so your portfolio is not skidding through retirement.
When you're not actively managing your portfolio, it's like seeing a red light and driving right through it into a crash. Then you have to pay for repairs, and it's months later before you're back on the road.
In our Memories and Milestones roadmap, we explain how we actively manage your portfolio. So when there are obvious signs in the market, we adjust accordingly.
If you want to see what your portfolio looks like actively managed, give our office a call at 800-469-2040 or visit on the web at retireidea.com.
Your home's roof is a large investment. Menards is here to help keep it protected. Gutters are essential for controlling rainwater from your roof. Right now, all Spectra gutters are 11% off. Prevent roof leaks and protect it against mildew buildup with Sealbest White Elastomeric Roof Coating. It's easy to apply. Just brush, roll, or spray. Sealbest Roof Coating is 11% off. Get 11% off everything right now at Menards.
Save big money at Menards.
Renee is not an influencer. She's more of a groundbreaker. Just look at the way she's reshaping and reimagining her 4-acre slice of heaven. It's not hard to tell she's the real deal. Renee runs with us on a John Deere 1 Series tractor because out here, you can't fake a job well done. Nothing runs like a Deere.
Stop by Lakeland Lawn and Equipment in Arborvita for special offers taking place for a limited time. Get great deals and service on legendary John Deere equipment.
Join me, Peyton Manning, and my brother Cooper as colleges go head-to-head in trivia.
Peyton, we're going to go with must-see TV.
I like it. I'm going to remember that. I'm a Tennessee alum.
Try not to be biased.
I'm a professional.
Capital One College Bowl premieres Tuesday on NBC. And now, Nick Jonas attempts to achieve his Olympic dreams with the support of his brothers, Kevin and Joe. Strong finish. Olympic Dreams, featuring the Jonas Brothers, July 21st on NBC.
We're back on Up North at 4. We're now outside the Phelps Historical Museum. I'm with Jan Petrick. Jan, how are you doing today?
Great. We're so excited about our open house.
Yes, that is happening right now. So if you're watching this, it's too late to come to the open house, but the hours are throughout the summer, which is fine.
Yes.
But even if you don't come inside the museum, you can also explore some history in Phelps. How can people do that, Jan?
Well, 4 years ago, we developed the walking tour, and you will see signs like this throughout the town, and it's a walking tour, or you can drive to it if you have some issues with walking. And it's very popular here in the Phelps community. So I encourage everybody to take a tour.
Well, you were the ones who helped design the tour. Tell me about maybe your favorite stop. Do you have a favorite stop?
The favorite stop would probably be where the old hospital was on Hill Street. It is not there anymore, and a lot of them aren't here anymore, but you can see where the history was. So the original hospital looked just like a house, but it wasn't a house, it was a hospital.
Okay, Jan, well, thank you for your work on putting this together, and everyone at home, definitely check out the walking tour.
Absolutely.
We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Attention homeowners, we're looking for 50 homeowners who need a new bath or shower. We want to evaluate our custom bathing solutions in real homes for safety and convenience. Call Wisconsin's #1 remodeler, Mad City, your window and bath partner of the Green Bay Packers. Update your bathroom with a new tub-to-shower conversion or easy access walk-in tub. We install in as little as 1 day. Be one of 50 homeowners who receive special savings with free installation on a new bath or shower system. 18 months, no payments, no interest financing. We'll take before and after pictures, put a good neighbor sign in your yard, and compensate you for your time. Call during this program for a $50 Amazon gift card with your free in-home estimate. And ask about Mad City's Do More discount for extra savings on new EcoSky windows and kitchen cabinet refacing. We have an A+ rating with the BBB, so you know we'll always treat you right.
When it comes to the bathroom, the Mad City bathroom, I have to give it a 10.
The shower is great.
And after the finished product, you're like, wow, this is amazing.
Mad City has over 50,000 satisfied customers. In as little as 1 day, we can transform your bathroom with a new walk-in shower, barrier-free shower, or walk-in tub with hydrotherapy. American-made with premium wall patterns like Canyon Slate, Silver White Marble, and more. We have special savings for 50 homeowners who call now. Get free installation on a new bath or shower system. 18 months, no payments, no interest financing. Let us put a good neighbor sign in your yard, and we'll compensate you for your time. Call during this program for a $50 Amazon gift card with your free in-home estimate. From Wausau and North Central Wisconsin, call now with zip code and location to qualify. 715-941-4238. That's 715-941-4238.
Race fans, get ready to kick off summer at the big house of off-road racing. Crandon International Off-Road Raceway welcomes the 28th Forest County Potawatomi Community Cup Challenge, June 26th and 27th. Come for a day or stay for a weekend of camping, fun, and racing. As always at Crandon, great food, drinks, and good times. Visiting the largest off-road track in the world. Free all day Friday, $40 daily or $55 for the entire weekend. Kids 11 and under are free, and seniors 65 and older are $25.
Welcome back to Up North at 4. Today we're going to be talking about a topic that, for me at least, is shrouded in mystery and truth, and that is the U.S. national debt. And today, to talk to us, is Kevin Barr, a professor in UW-Stevens Point. Kevin, how are you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good, Dan. Thank you.
So let's start at the basics. Can you tell me what the U.S. national debt is? What does it mean?
Okay. Well, in any given year, if the United States government spends more on programs and services than what it takes in through tax revenue, it will run a deficit. Well, how can you spend more than what you take in? And the answer is, just like consumers, well, you can borrow it. And when they borrow it, they basically issue treasury securities. It's treasury debt. It's an IOU. It has to be repaid. Who buys this stuff? Basically, anybody can buy it. If you want to open an online account with the Treasury Department and buy treasury securities, you can do that. Foreign investors can do that. If you want to invest in a mutual fund that invests in treasury securities, you can do that. So the deficit is what the country runs in a given year if you spend more than what you take in, and the debt is what you use to finance the deficit.
Got it. So deficit, 1 year, debt, all in total.
Yes.
And I've seen economists use a debt to GDP ratio to analyze an impact of debt. Can you first explain GDP to us and then tell us why GDP to debt is commonly used?
Sure. The GDP is a measure of the output of goods and services for a country in a given period. Typically, it's measured over a quarter or over the year. But it's not only the output, the flip of that, it's also the income of the country. You produce output, generates income. So the debt to GDP is used as a ratio because it's kind of a measure, it's a rough measure of a country's ability to pay back its debt. It's sort of like if you as an individual, if you had $1 million of debt, is it a lot? Well, the answer is if you're making $30,000, it probably is. If you're making $25 million a year, it probably isn't. So the debt to GDP kind of standardizes, if you will, the amount of debt relative to income. So it's kind of a rough measure of a country's ability to pay it back, but it is kind of a rough measure.
So that debt number, it's really relative. It depends on what country you are. USA probably has more authority to have more debt as they have a large GDP. So
yes,
let's talk about that kind of comparison. How does our GDP to debt ratio compare to other countries?
The U.S. debt to GDP is relatively high. We're roughly in about the top 5 major economies in the world. But you have to be a little careful in terms of how you interpret that. The U.S. debt to GDP is about 135%, which is a relatively high number. It's about twice as high as what Germany has. It's higher than most European countries, not all European countries. But Japan leads the way with debt to GDP of 200%. But about half of Japan's debt is owned by the Japanese central bank. So it's sort of like, well, it's debt, but you kind of don't really have to pay it back. For the United States, it's about 20 to 25% of our debt is owned by the U.S. central bank, basically the United States Federal Reserve. So in terms of how high is the number, it's relatively high. Is the United States going into a financial crisis? If it goes from 135% to 140 to 150%, no, not really. Exactly how high is too high? That gets to be a little bit dicey to call. Basically, what's going on with this is you have to watch interest rates, you have to watch inflation, and you have to watch the amount of debt outstanding. It all kind of works together.
Let's go to 2018. There were some tax cuts there. How did that impact the deficit and the debt?
One of the general things I think you can say is when the economy is going good, you typically want to, at the very least, reduce the deficit. I mean, it's kind of like if you as an individual, if you were maxing out your income, but you couldn't pay off your debt and you were taking on more debt and you already had quite a bit of debt outstanding. Well, if you can't pay it off in good times, you're never going to pay it off. The tax cuts of 2018 significantly increased the United States budget deficit, which of course then leads to an increase in the debt outstanding. So it's not always a function of spending more than what you take in. It's also a function of the timing of it. And when we have an economic crisis like we had in 2020 and coming out of it now, but in 2020 it was very appropriate to spend the money to increase the deficit, increase the debt outstanding. But in 2018, things were going good. It's typically during those times you want to reduce the deficit and not increase it, because otherwise you set yourself up for a significant increase in the deficit and the debt if something goes wrong, like it did.
So when I think of government spending, that money can either come from taxes or it can cut into our deficit, cut into our debt. So you kind of answered this, but for example, we're coming up on potentially more spending from the federal government. Would it be appropriate to pay for that using taxes or to increase our deficit?
You have a couple of things going on here. The United States debt to GDP, I mean, it is relatively high. I think when it gets to a relatively high level, one of the things that does happen, although it doesn't mean you're going to go into a financial crisis anytime soon, but one of the things that does happen, it kind of gives you a little bit less flexibility from the standpoint of if interest rates would go up, and there's a number of things that can influence interest rates going up. If inflation goes up for some reason, we just had $2 trillion basically stimulus. Well, if demand increases and inflation goes up, interest rates are going to increase. So if you have a lot of debt outstanding and that those interest rates go up, well, your interest expense is going to go up. So if you do have a lot of debt outstanding, it does kind of decrease the flexibility. So given the $2 trillion stimulus, well, if you're going to do more spending, well, that's then more appropriate, in my opinion anyway, to use tax revenue as opposed to borrowing. Because if you use tax revenues, it's really kind of a shift of who's spending the money. I mean, for example, if you increase taxes on Amazon say has $1 less to spend, that dollar now goes to the United States government to spend on infrastructure. So it's a little bit of a shift in terms of who's spending the money and what it is being spent on.
Anything else you'd like to say, Kevin?
Yeah, I think one other thing is that inflation can kind of play into this a little bit. If you're using tax revenue and you're increasing taxes to basically fund government expenditures, say in the $2 trillion infrastructure plan, you're just kind of shifting the spending. So inflation becomes much less likely, as opposed to if you borrow the money and then if the Federal Reserve would print money to actually pay down the debt, which they are allowed to do. So that's another factor that kind of plays into this.
Thanks so much, Professor Barr, for joining us today.
Thank you very much.